Hello, hello, Shagatanon here. Welcome back to Dwarf Fortress here on the 12th of January, 2023, local time 17:05. Gonna be a bit of a shorter session today, maybe about 2 hours, as I am exceptionally tired to the most extreme degree. So we're just gonna kind of chill and see what happens. Last time we left off here, we were basically trying to dig out this channel to make a dump pit for captured dudes and stuff. It's being problematic. We still have about 43, 44 levels to go. Actually, yeah, about 44 probably. And it takes a long time, unfortunately. So this is not the most exciting thing, but it is something that we just got to kind of wait out and do. Now, there's another thing that happened. Last time, I accidentally... whoops, I got to close that first. I accidentally did something. I goofed. Someone demanded something, and then I went in here and I went to click the bar to drag down the like the window here, like this, and I accidentally deleted the make wooden bin work order. So that's what it was. I had to go back and find it in the video, and it was a lot earlier in the video than I thought it was. I thought it was like really close to the end, like 30 minutes from the end or less. It was like an hour and a half or something. This game does weird stuff with time. I don't get it. But anyway, we're basically waiting on them to take care of the channels here. And we have to keep going all the way down. We can have someone try to do that now, but I don't want to get the different pieces like out of parity with each other. I'd like to make sure we can do entire batches at once, because then it's kind of more of a pain. Here we go. I'm just waiting on that one now. It's not too bad. So the thing is, they have to go all the way up this huge, what's going to be a pit, down to like below. They're actually -2, and they come in here and see there we have a miner right there. What's the color on that? Oh, it's still alive. Is that why? Yeah, it's still alive. And they go through this tunnel and they go over this way. And it takes us over here to where our squad has been training. So it's quite the long distance, unfortunately. Not a lot I can do about it, really. Just, oh crap. We have someone that made it. I thought I saw someone walking around, but I wasn't sure. Let's see. Oh, it's not very good. Oh, right. I forgot I left off before the change of seasons as well. Slight Dream Theater reference? I don't know, maybe. Now we may get attacked pretty heavily here, because they like to do it around the change of seasons. That is one thing. It does not always have to happen at those moments, but it very often does. It's one of the few things where the game is a little bit gamey, and it does show through a little bit. It's not the end of the world, of course. So the queen demanded something, so it's probably going to be... Yeah. We need 1 crown and 1 goblet. We have the goblet. So rock, yeah, rock crown. Let's make 1 of those. Now we want to come up here and maybe think about sealing off. I don't think we need to at the moment, but... Oh, look at this. This is cool. You can actually see where the Diluvian Machine's reservoir is at, right? Because of where the snow piles up. That gives an idea of how large it is. And we could still go out a few more Z levels if we wanted. So we still have dudes that we've trapped. They're just kind of doing their thing. And we're going to be waiting on this for a while because I didn't set priority, did I? Big oof. Not good. Do allow me to step away for just a moment. If anything severe happens, the game will pause. I actually have something really interesting right here. This is why I stepped away. I have something really interesting right here, so we'll turn the camera back on. And I don't know how easy this is going to be to see at the moment, so I'll actually switch to this view for just a moment. This is procedural storytelling in game design, and if you look down at the bottom, there is a name. A little hard to see because I have the green screen, the effects and stuff going, but it is edited by Tarn Adams. There is an essay from Tarn Adams in the book here as well, which talks about basically how you might design. Did I have that paused the whole time? When I walked away, was it paused? That's unfortunate. I thought they were just being lazy. That's very unfortunate. It's okay though. He kind of talks about how you might approach a problem like generating stories in games, and he gives an example of a little, like, it's a sentence, and it talks about a kobold sneaking in and stealing Eurist's masterwork scepter, and then Eurist was like depressed about it for days afterward or something. And he goes through and breaks down every single word in the sentence, and it's very interesting because he's like, every single word has an implication. Sneaking has an implication. A kobold has an implication. The masterwork part has an implication because it shows different qualities of items. The scepter has some implications. The workshop was mentioned, and that has implications. And he goes through and breaks down every single word and asks questions about them, right? It's like, oh, so, you know, he was depressed for days. Well, how does time work in this game? What does it mean, right? So that is very interesting to really question things at that kind of a level. And what he ends up doing is saying, basically, you could hone in on the things that are the most important right away, because some things are a little bit more incidental. They don't matter as much right away, at least. And he's like, hone in on the things that are most important, and you may end up with like a very simple system of like a workshop on an empty map with a dwarf hanging out and crafting things and stuff. And he's like, and that's about what we had after the first couple of days of development of Dwarf Fortress. So they kind of knew that they wanted to focus on these stories and narratives from the beginning, and they thought about, well, what is an example story we want the game to produce? And with that in mind, how can we make something that produces that? Now, that's a really good way of approaching a problem like that. And to me as a developer, I think of test-driven development as being similar to that. Test-driven development says, I have an output, I know what I want to see, how do I make code that produces that? Now, in test-driven development, you really want to start with the simplest output, and well, you want to start with like some kind of basic output and then figure out the simplest way to make it happen. And when we learned it, I don't know if this is how you would really do it if you were applying it all the time in all of your work as an engineer. But when I learned it on the job, the training we got was, if your thing is supposed to like add some numbers together. The first simple one is not even to add numbers, it's to hard code the value. Because your test is only one input, like 2 plus 2, so you just output 4, you don't even do the math. But then when you have a second test, which brings in 2 different numbers, you're like, okay, well, now it's no longer 4, you know, maybe it's 3 plus 3, or 3 plus 2 or something, whatever. It's a different result, right? And so you'll need to account for that. And then at a point, it's like, okay, well, now it's better to actually add the numbers together rather than just produce a hard-coded output. And then this was a very, very basic example, but the idea is kind of there, where you know what the output should be, and so you can design your code around that. It's a similar idea to me. We know what the output should be, a dynamically generated story. So how can we make a game around giving us those stories? I like it. Oh, you know what? The elves should be here any minute now. They might actually attack now. And I'd like to know what's going on with these animals dying. It died in here. It's a named animal too. Don't like that. So all this is cleared out. Down to 36. I mean, I'm not going to be dumping any enemies until I get this handled. I'm not even going to put the stockpile here yet. We could have made some ballistae. Is it ballistae? Ballistas? Ballisti? Okay. Got that one. Hopefully the other ones follow suit. Ah, come on. They gave up on some of them. I kept mentioning this the other day when I started this work, but it gets better the further down we go, because there's less distance they have to travel, so they're less likely to cancel it. But it's a pain. See, we got a cancellation there. It's a real pain just getting to that point. And this is the same problem I had when I dug my other pit. The one right here. Wow, that one got canceled again. Why do they keep taking jobs they're not committed to? That, I understand it's probably because they got hungry or something, had a higher precedence. But it's a little bit frustrating. Here we go, at least 2 miners. We're in shape now. We're doing good now. I'm trying to keep them roughly on the same level because it's less to babysit, but it's still a pain. I know this is not exciting either, and I want to get this done as quickly as possible because it's going to be, as I mentioned, a shorter session. My sleep last night was so terrible that my sleep tracker thought I woke up. I mean, I did, but it thought I like got up, like just stopped sleeping. But I was laying in bed trying to sleep for another few hours. So it says that I got up at 2:08, and then the only other sleep it tracked after that, it counted as a nap. But I was like, no, I just couldn't fall back to sleep. Struggling. I hate stuff like that. Alright, can we get this one? This is the only one I care about right now. That's the most important one. What am I looking at here? Is this part of my... Yeah, this is part of where we're gonna drain... Alright, we have someone showing up. We need to just seal them in. Oh, the elves arrived. I feel weird that I didn't notice it happen. It may be worth sealing them in a bit. What I might do is build doors and then forbid the doors so they won't go too far away. It's a bit rough. Not the kindest thing to do. There's the caravan, see? BPR for doors. Oh, right. Keep building. Alright, that elf is gonna be... They're gonna be nice and mad at me. We already know that. Oh, and that's right, they don't like bone. So they don't like bone and they don't like wood. Ooh, a steel crossbow has been named. Kabakor Medtabmishtem. Let's see, much to discuss. 25 trees. We'll make it 47, okay. And they're probably going to want to attack me from now on if I don't abide by that. Can we take a look at this? Who did this? Libash. Gotta pause it so I can find them. I don't see Labash, so they may have gone off to do something else. Yeah. Just a superior quality steel crossbow. You're all kinds of like legendary and everything. That's pretty cool. Let's make a check on this. Yeah, we got a problem. Rough gems, a quarry, so we need stone. I know they have stone. Shells. Square blocks. I don't think we have shells. If we can trade with the elves and get maybe a turtle or something, we can butcher it. So let's try. We'll take a gem bin that's got a bunch of stuff in here. Oh my goodness, Cabal with the raid. Thank you so much for that, Cabal. I appreciate it. How are you doing? What were you up to today? Cloth bin. Nothing that I want to mess with. A gem bin, we'll take that. Yo, we got the emotes coming in. I love it. How you guys doing? Welcome. Switching to mobile, got it. We were trying to maybe get something with a shell, if we're lucky. Or maybe just buy a shell. I guess we could also look into doing that. Semi-work lurking, I like that. My version of work lurking is usually like, I lurk my work stuff and I pay more attention to whatever else I'm doing. Oh, I didn't say that, never mind. Yeah, I have no idea, I didn't say that. Alright, we could try trading, but here's the other one bringing the other bin. I'm super working right now, yes. No, I am very, very exhausted. I did not sleep well. And I go to the office on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Doing so on less than 4 hours of sleep is not fun. And I go in really early so I can avoid most of the traffic. So I've got it out of the way today, but man, I am tired. I don't see anything I want from here. That's unfortunate. We may be in trouble. I've never made what would be a proper, like... Yeah, I don't guess I've made a proper waterfall generator, but I've made waterfalls on this map. It's just not in an area where people are at, so they don't get, like, the mood bonuses and stuff. But flooding your place while doing it, that sounds par for the course, doesn't it? The rite of passage. You know, I'm really not very happy with anything I've seen here. And that's unfortunate. Should I go ahead and just station a guard? Probably. I don't feel like doing any of the other trading, so... Sorry guys, you didn't bring anything I wanted. Wish we could sort this a little better. Filter on things that are already at the depot. Yeah, diagonal tiles, that'll get you. That'll definitely get you. Alright, so you're the one that's hanging out here. Well, let's get a squad to hang out here just in case. Because we don't have shells, and, well, they want shells. So that's gonna be basically a death, but it just depends on how violent the death is. Very unfortunate. Alright, now to get away from this distraction, back to the riveting, exciting gameplay that everyone's really here for. Waiting another 20 minutes to finish carving this out. I'm gonna trap a couple miners in here once they go through to try to speed this up. I would love to know if there are better ways to dig a large pit. I've yet to find one. Because they're not smart enough to know, start at the top level, do all the top level before you do the next level. They'll carve like the closest thing out, so then they'll end up like getting the bottom level and they won't be able to access the stairs or whatever. You can't do it with priorities. Okay, so one has made it through. We have another one, maybe? Yeah, there's another one. And another one. Let them get in here. We're going to forbid the doors once they go through. And that should speed this up a bit. Yeah, you can't do it with priorities because if you have like 4 miners that all pick these and they're like, oh, well, that was the highest priority. So now and another miner will then fall back to the next layer because it's now available. All the other ones are allocated. That one got canceled. There we go, yeah. This is gonna work. This is gonna be better. As long as they don't knock each other down the stairs. By standing on one as they like hollow it out. Thank you for the follow, I appreciate it. Yeah, and that's the problem though. Like doing one layer and waiting for them to completely finish. Like, it's such a pain. Alright, now they're working. They just went to sleep here. What a bunch of nerds. They had to walk. Oh, we got the Finnick going, yeah. Yeah, and that's what I always refer to it as well, babysitting them. And so it sounds like everyone's in agreement there's not really much of a better way to do it. I think locking them in was probably the best idea I've had in relation to this. Because now they don't walk away every single time and I have to wait on them to reallocate. Oh my goodness, it's terrible. Forced labor, you get out when you're done. You know, if they would just like more quickly turn around and do the thing, I don't think you understand. I've been waiting like minutes to do a single layer of this. Like legit minutes to do one layer of this. Because they'll walk away. It's such a far route that they're like, no, I'm gonna go eat or something. I don't want to do this right now. Where'd the other ones go? Did they die? Did they fall down the stairs and we just haven't seen their body yet? Because I was actually a little concerned about that. I called it out a minute ago where if we're standing on the stairs as they get carved out, that could lead to problems. I had to redesign my entire central staircase a couple sessions ago because it finally registered with me that, oh, that's why I keep finding things dead. I was thinking it was somehow tied to the caverns, and I was like, how? I've got this place like sealed up. I don't understand. It's not that it was tied to the caverns, it's that that was where the stairs ended, so things were like falling down the stairs and smushing, having a bad time. Like, who knows what's even happening right now? It's like, let's just do this, right? Oh, yep, I think they fell. Oof. That's a big oof right there. Well, who wants to be a new miner, huh? Anyone interested? I mean, you're dabbling. We need at least 2. Let's find someone that has like a pump operator. You could be a miner. And you. Well, can we go ahead and dig this? I know you'd want to get away from their corpses, so you don't want any miasma or anything, so let's hurry up, right? You don't want to stay in here. So 1 miner was the correct approach, not 3. It's one of those things that kind of sucks, but I called it out ahead of time. It's not really a surprise. We're making good progress now. We legitimately are. We've done more in the past, like, 2 minutes than I did in probably 30 minutes before. They did die for a good cause. I'm trying to build a, like a drop pit. Never done that before. There's so many things I've never done in Fortress mode for someone who played the game as long as I did. So many things I've never tried. I very rarely have dealt with enemies much at all. It's not really my kind of thing. Adventure mode's different. That's my favorite way to play. Things I don't want, yes, we'll put it that way. I'll show you in just a moment. We're actually just at the bottom, basically. Just about 4 more layers after this. Oh, they're getting dehydrated, though. You'll be okay, I promise. They gotta go to negative... Or they just gotta go right here. So, yeah, we're good. So now here we carve those out just to get rid of them. And we're gonna come down here and unforbid these doors. Well, we'll wait just a moment. Let you get rid of those first. How you feeling about those bodies? Doesn't really seem to have anything to say. Alright, let's unforbid these. Actually, let's just tear them down. Because I didn't want them there in the first place. That was just a hack. And we're gonna need a couple coffins and slabs set up for them. Yes, the drop pit where I can dump things I don't want anymore, like maybe this goblin or these dwarves that I have in my cage traps here. Things like that are what I want to be dropping down there. And the tunnel runs over there near my squad, so my squad can clean up anyone who somehow survives the drop. That's the overall plan there. And what I want to do here is actually seal this off. That's something I was thinking about. I want to make sure they can't go this way into the main fortress. And I want to open this up on the side over here so we have room to transport the cages to the pit. I'm just surprised I found a place to dig that pit without like cutting through anything else in the fort. That took the most effort. Okay, BFX. Let's get our 2 burial receptacles out. We'll just put them here and here. And we need to designate 2 engrave 2 slabs. Let's come up here to where I normally do it. And who died again? Momuz and Aloth. So there's Aloth. Oh, whoops. There we go. Ah, why are you trolling me, game? There we go. Let's prioritize those and we'll get the slabs down there too. We'll see what description we have for their deaths. Close out a few of these things here. Is this person still... That's him, yeah. This squad is just chilling here, like I dare you. I dare you to go berserk and throw a tantrum. We'll put the zones in just a moment. We'll check the progress of these. Okay, these slabs are ready. So it's going to be BFL. And it's not those. I should put those random slabs down one day. Aloth goes on the right. And on the left is Momuz. I don't know what some of those random engravings came from. Whenever I just did a bunch of them, not knowing who they were a long time ago. All right. Cool. All right, so we're gonna pause real quick. We're gonna designate a tomb. And I say it every time, but we really need a way to filter on this screen. Momuz goes on the left. That one's going to be easy to find. Because the longer your fort goes on, the worse that list gets. I know I can do that actually before they put the coffin down, but it's whatever. Momuz. There we go. Alright, no ghosts today. People coming to get the bodies and stuff. Yep. Let's also smooth that out, just for the nicety of it. Just make things look a little better. And that's it for the drop pit, the actual structure of the drop pit. I don't think I left any stairs. I'd probably leave. I'd probably just say, you know what, it's fine. And I think if they're falling into stairs, they might just keep falling anyway. But there we go. So now over here, I'm going to do B and L, and I'm going to put in a wall here. Let's do limestone. And unless they screw this up, they won't seal themselves inside of here, but it doesn't really matter because I'm also going to crack open... I can't do that. No, I gotta disassemble like that. Oh, when did I go on? Not sure when I went in that mode. So basically this is now, it's not going to enter the fort. It's not necessarily a point of weakness, unless they want to go down that drop pit, which have fun. If you can fly, we've got other problems. They're probably not coming down here. They're probably going for the main stuff. So this is not going to be a weak point going in, basically. It's going to allow them to haul things back without bringing them towards the fort, right? It kind of keeps them moving away from the fort. And then I need to figure out how I want to set this up. So I think I just want to do a Sally port? What is that? I've never heard of that one. Now I would need a zone as well. And I think it would be... like this. Never done this before. Oh, I've never heard that name. I've always just called it a false entrance. Giant mole, when did we get that? Alright, so this does work. Cool. We can designate, got it. So there's a little baby sitting there, but it's not too bad. So now we're going to have them set the stockpile to be custom, and we're going to go to animals. How do I transport? I don't like the word empty there. Cage is not empty, right? Anyone got experience on this so I don't do this incorrectly? I don't want him to actually just let the things out. You know what we could try is... what's that thing called? We had something else captured. We had the mole thing as well. Draltha. We had a Draltha, I think. Oh, the mole is here too. Okay. Got it. So if they'll haul that Draltha up there, we'll see how they behave with it. I don't want them to just like let it out. I want them to just put the cage here. Is there another option in this? Yeah, I've never done this one before. I've done something before where I had like a bridge that would like dump enemies as they were on it. It's like a giant bridge and it would just like retract and dump enemies, or I've had ones that fling enemies and stuff, but I've never tried a drop pit like this. And I don't know if I'm doing it right. Really just gotta see if they move the Dwarf. The experiment, right? Empty cages and animal traps, I guess. Very interested in how this is going to go. I don't feel like these guys are doing anything. I haven't seen them move. I'm really bothered that I didn't smooth. Okay, we can still smooth that. Cool. Oh wait, they moved it. Is it you? Paul, okay. Let's follow this one and let's see how it works. And this tells me whether or not I want to do this for the goblins and stuff too. Otherwise, because I just want to move them there and then drop them. There is a potential issue that can happen as well that I'm aware of because I've seen it before in a video. Basically, when they're going to drop to release something from the cage, the thing I believe can escape from the cage. So this is why we want the cages to be moved right by the place where it's going to be dropped. That way it reduces that likelihood. But the way the stockpile is, it's actually going out 2 spaces, so there may still be a slight vulnerability there. Someone's teeth in here? This dude is a real champ. He's hauling this horse thing all the way up here. I feel bad for the horse thing now. The Dwarf. She feels patient after being confined. That makes me feel worse. I'm never opening another animal thing again. I don't want to know how they feel. It makes me feel worse for what we are potentially going to do. We could maybe just tame it for fun. I don't know. They're friendly. They don't really do much. Are they supposed to be elephants? I thought they were horse things. I thought it described it as a grazer with a thick mane. I'd never seen one before now. Oh, he's getting close. That dude just booking it with the wheelbarrow. He knows what's up. This man is hauling this very heavy animal. To be fair, you know, he's hauling it quite a ways. He's hauling it up the stairs all by himself. This dude is jacked. Who's requesting stuff? I don't want to do it. Is it a stupid traction bench? It's 3 goblets. That's almost as bad. Alright, he's just a couple Z levels away. Could be hitting the workshops and stuff in a moment. There's our subpar dungeon. Someone pushed him out of the way. He's gonna have a hard time. Yeah, he's having a hard time here. Even 3 wide, it's still kind of rough. I mentioned yesterday, or Tuesday, I talked about some of the stuff I want to do with my next one. It'll alleviate some of these problems. We're playing my jam right now, Expansive Cavern. Yo, he cannot get through that hallway. He's having so much trouble even getting to it. Is he gonna go up and go all the way around? Oh my god. He gave up on the hallway. He actually gave up on the hallway. What a nerd. It sucks because I don't want to miss this when he gets there. I want to make sure I understand the mechanic. He's going to be going for a hot minute though. He's got to go all the way up to the upper left corner and then circle through. I don't really believe that the A-star algorithm would have taken this path willingly. I think it kept getting penalized by that hallway, and then this was a second choice. A beetle. A chief chef is visiting. That's almost a tongue twister. He's still walking that way. He's gonna take a little bit. I got plenty of time to read these engravings. Died after colliding with an obstacle in the year 113. That's not a very exciting one. Died after colliding with an obstacle in the year 113. Lover of male shirts. Well, good for you, I guess. Yeah, see, he's barely moving. Yeah, I know this sucks. It's not riveting, it's not exciting, but we gotta understand the mechanics. And, no one wants to help him haul. I know they don't do that, but no one wants to help him haul. It's like, you're on your own, bro. It's too much work for me. I don't get paid enough. Why is this song so good? By the way, this is another moment to talk about something I brought up earlier, because we're going to be waiting on this for a little while. So I have here a really interesting book. We got some new people in here right now. I have a really interesting book here called Procedural Storytelling and Game Design. And we got this stuff popping up too from all the emotes and stuff popping up from the raid and the follow and everything too. I appreciate that. There is a name here. It's a little hard to see because of the way the green screen and stuff is working, but Tarn Adams is an editor of this book and actually has an essay in here. It's very interesting if you're into that kind of topic. The essay, Tarn's essay is basically, he talks a little bit about how they approach Dwarf Fortress from the beginning as a way of building narratives and telling stories. And the example was really cool because, in fact, we're going to be waiting so long for this guy. I will flip to it real quick if I can find it. It's almost, here it is. So he gives an example of asking the question, what's the least I can do to generate more stories like this? And so he's like, you'll come up with like an example output of what you want your game to produce, and then you'll break down the components of that example output and figure out how to make something make that output. So the example that he gave was a kobold crept into the workshop and stole Eurist's masterpiece scepter. Eurist was distraught for days afterward. And then he breaks down what's a kobold, how is it defined, where does it come from, and how often is it always there to steal things? Crept, are there stealth mechanics? Do maps support that? Can the player tell what's going on? Can the player prevent stealthy intrusions or otherwise engage with them? Workshop, how does the player make and interact with it? What control does the player have? Does that interfere with narrative formation? Are items kept inside a workshop? And he goes on, stole, Eurist, Eurists, as in possessive, masterpiece, scepter, distraught, days. He breaks down every single word, basically, of that statement, of that little example narrative, and says, what are the main pieces we need here to basically make a game that can produce those stories. So he says the snippet alone raised a lot of questions, but if we answer them in our design, we'll have a game capable of producing this story. Which questions look the most pertinent? Days is an afterthought. Masterpiece is an unnecessary detail. If I wanted to get a prototype up as soon as possible, I'd get a dwarf crafting objects in a workshop. For brevity's sake, the dwarf would have a name from a simple table. The crafted item type would be selected from another simple table, and the workshop would be a patch on the ground and some empty map. This is, in fact, what we had within a day or two of starting on Dwarf Fortress, along with mining into a cliff face. The kobolds came later. The emotional distress came well after that, as it's a nice part of the story, but not a driver of events until it has its own consequences. Quote, and then Eurist threw a tantrum. Other priorities are possible, and they lead to different games as development continues, since you can't do everything. Not all of these games will produce varied and surprising player stories, but they'll have other merits. That's just a snippet from Tarn's essay from this book. It's got a handful, I don't know exactly how many. Let's see, so each chapter is an essay. It's 28 different chapters. It's really cool stuff if you're interested in this kind of topic. This one is a bit more, it's a bit less code. There's not actually that much code in here. It's more kind of theory of how you might generate things, you know, different ideas you can do if you wanted to maybe have a game that was generating stories, generating narratives. There's another book called Procedural Generation in Game Design. Tarn Adams is also an editor on it, and I'm not exactly sure how that one's going to go, but I do have it ordered. I'm waiting on my copy of it to be delivered. But I thought that'd be something cool to mention, given that, you know, this is Dwarf Fortress, and, you know, we're talking about books that Tarn Adams was involved with. It seems relevant. It seems pertinent. That freaked me out for a moment because for some reason I thought the bridge was up, like closed. We're almost here. The queen wants some goods, and she usually wants crowns. 2 of 3. We'll just queue up 2. Yeah, I find that topic really fascinating, and I've mentioned before, you know, I am a programmer. I'm a computer scientist by study. I'm a software engineer by trade. But what I want to do more than really anything is to make my own game. And, you know, I've started looking into these resources to get, you know, interesting ideas and help flesh out some of the things that I've been thinking about. And related to that, just another thing to kill time and talk about something. I do coding streams on Monday and Wednesday. I program in Rust. I'm currently going through a roguelike tutorial. So chances are if you're into Dwarf Fortress, you might be interested in roguelikes in general, especially if you're like adventure mode or something. So I've been going through a roguelike tutorial in Rust on my Mondays and Wednesday coding streams. And the first handful of sessions were all the basic structure. Basically getting a simple map being generated, you know, nothing too crazy, just a simple map with like corridors and rooms and stuff. Getting simple enemies like a goblin and an orc. A couple items you could pick up and interact with, like fireball scrolls. Very basic things, nothing too crazy. The last probably 15 or more sessions have all been dedicated to map generation, where we now have about 15 different map generation algorithms, and we have a lot of ways to apply those. So we have many thousands of possible combinations we can actually get by layering the different pieces on top of each other. So we just finished up with the map generation stuff yesterday, and the next stage is going to be kind of making a game out of all this now, like a design document, and really kind of honing in on what we want to target as we go through. Now, the one thing I want to say is this is also me learning. I keep saying I'm going through a tutorial. This is not my own tutorial. I am learning some of this stuff as I go as well. I was, you know, really interested in the map generation algorithms because those are things I could apply to my game. So I'm not trying to claim credit for the actual tutorial. I don't want to sound like, you know, I wrote this exact tutorial, but it is something that I can learn from as I go through it. And I thought, you know, why not? It's gonna, you know, hold me accountable to continuing and completing. It's a very long tutorial, so by doing it on my streams there, it actually holds me more accountable. I did a few other coding streams before I started that, which were just kind of one-off little quick projects and stuff. Oh, yeah, we have... I see what happened with the cage thing. I see. We'll look at that in a moment. Okay. So you said you are a... Nice, okay. That's awesome. So we just brought the Dralta in here, which is what I wanted. We're going to get rid of animal traps there, and we're going to say all here. And I think we can now safely just move things into here. I think it's doable. Whatever happened to this guy that was claiming the workshop? He's still there. I feel bad. We don't have shells. That's the only thing we're missing. We have everything else that shows up. My real dream is, I actually hate working as a software engineer. I love programming though. I love gaming. When I was a kid, the first thing I ever really thought about doing as a job, and this is me being like 4 years old playing Sonic, not really knowing what it's like to be an adult and have a job and all that, but it's just like, oh, people have jobs. That's what people do. Like, I didn't have any concept of what life would be like. But the first thing I ever considered doing back then was making games. Although as a child, what interested me the most was the art. So I didn't really know what it meant, but I just knew I wanted to do the graphics when I was a kid. Things have changed a little. I mean, I still value art a lot, but my skill set is more on the side of, you know, the technical back end and like actual algorithms and stuff at this point. But I would kind of prefer, if I had the choice, if I could go back, I would definitely focus on music and art. I would not be doing software engineering if I could go back. But by having done software engineering now, it does set me up to be able to make my own, game from scratch, and that's something that really interests me. You're the guy that went mad, right? No, it's... Where'd they go? Oh, there's a bunch of clothes there. They got naked, didn't they? Yeah. no, that's not them. Okay, I need to find them in here real quick. Ordrum Z. Where did you go? Ordum. Oh, he's right there. Running around babbling. Well, he hasn't hurt anyone yet, but he's gonna disturb people. It's not gonna be good. Oh crap, something happened last time I forgot to follow up on. This guy confessed. Etru Shrine. Intelligence. I really appreciate that. Thank you for your support. I'm interested somewhat in the trading side of things and all, but I've considered, you know, maybe building my own bots or something interesting like that. Not enough to, you know, get super into it. My first job outside of university was with a brokerage firm, though. Brokerage firm / bank. So I've been in the finance world, but as a software engineer. Let's see. So they confessed to the theft. In the late winter of 109, they made an agreement with the English Tours, becoming a resident of Ironclears to entertain the citizenry. Yep, I would have done that. They revealed that in the mid-spring of 112, they made an agreement with the English Tours, becoming a citizen of Ironclears. Yep, I would have agreed to that too. In the mid-autumn of 112, Thone Gleamed Wind, the dwarf, the monster slayer Atir Guildfather of the Lances of Roaring, corrupted subject in order to have an agent in Ironclears. Thone Gleamed Wind met with subject and made a threat. Subject spurned the law and agreed willingly. Subject revealed that in the mid-autumn of 112, they plotted to steal Rhymed Scoured under the influence of Thone Gleamed Wind. Cool. So we need more information on Thome. I don't think we have Thome, do we? There's somewhere else, I would imagine. Yeah, we don't have them. Unless it's an alias. Aliases do exist. But we will convict this person because they've confessed to doing it. They tried to steal an artifact. We can't let them do that. And the mayor wants something. I'm trying to think what the mayor would want. Slabs, that's right. Give him the hammer. I don't actually have a hammerer. I've never used a hammerer before. I wonder what it would take for me to be willing to do that. You're moving, who are you moving? Something happened. You're moving one of the thieves. Wait, Etru Lepolrin was found dead. In the middle of the temple? Etru Shrine... Is that the same one? Etru was fighting. The Master Lasher punches the human bard in the right lower leg, fracturing the bone. That's a brutal punch. The force pulls the right knee, tearing apart the muscle, bruising the bone. Tearing apart the muscle, bruising the bone. A ligament has been torn and a tendon has been torn. The Master Lasher bites the human bard in the right lower arm, tearing the muscle and bruising the bone. The Master Lasher latches on firmly. The Master Lasher punches the human bard in the upper body with his right hand, bruising the muscle and shattering the right false ribs through the shirt. The Master Lasher punches the human bard in the left lower leg with his right hand, fracturing the bone through the trousers. The force bends the left knee, tearing apart the muscle and bruising the bone, and tearing apart the muscle and bruising the bone. A ligament has been torn and a tendon has been torn. The human bard gives into pain. The Master punches the human bard in the head with his left hand, bruising the muscle, jamming the skull through the brain, and tearing apart the brain. Human bard's been found dead. Lepolrin. Etru Lepolrin. Now, the guy we just convicted was Etru something, but a slightly different name. I accidentally sorted and I'm too lazy to click it again. I think that was them. I think that's the one that we just convicted. Etru Shrine Grower does not exist. Yeah, there's no Etru. So I think that was their nickname, and weird things just happened, basically. We'll do a BFX to get a burial receptacle in here. You get a limestone coffin. And once this slab is ready, we'll get that slab placed down there. I'd really like to see what this slab is engraved with. Really curious about that. It's not like a crime or anything. But I don't have a hammer. Here it is, the Jet Memorial. You got a good one. Struck down by the dwarf Nil plunged spear. Who is Nil? So we do BFL to get our slab. We're gonna pause, we're gonna zone this tomb real quick. And I say it every time, but we need filtering options for this. All the way at the bottom, basically. Rip my mouse wheel. Alright, so what have we got in here? You are still hauling, good. So we have this dwarf, this thief, that is now captive in our animal stockpile. And I think some of these are forbidden. So we get to pee. I pee. Oh no, that's garbage dump, never mind. It's I capital F to claim forbidden stuff. Hopefully this works well. I'm genuinely curious as to how this is going to go if we try to drop someone down. So we're going to go to our squad here. It's not that squad, it's this squad. Cancel any order. They get to keep training now. We actually want to go in here and equip. Update equipment. Some of them may be able to find some better stuff, hopefully. We'll see. These guys never move. What's going on? Alright, now is it time to test dropping this dwarf down the pit? I kind of feel like it is. It's a very long pit, too. Seems fun. What are you hauling? A goblin bowman. You have another one of the thieves. Goblin bowman. Let's give it a try. Select animals to be dropped. A live honeybee? That's kind of goofy. Hello there, Mr. Thief. Is it this one? Yeah, I think it is. And I think it was the full stack of honeybees. So it's not just a honeybee. It's like 15,000 honeybees that you're dropping down. I love how goofy this game gets. You're hauling, right? Okay. Now, unfortunately, I'm only going to go about 2 hours today, so I'm not going to get a lot done compared to what I normally do. But I mentioned earlier I had an extremely terrible night of sleep. So I'm a little bit more awake now than I was before I started, but I'd like some time to relax for sure. So we're going to go about another 40 minutes. Normally I go for about 4 hours. Sometimes I go over. With this game, I often go over. No, it's like a full colony of that many bees. I love bees. Halo 2. Yeah, I mentioned before, my sleep was so bad. I woke up, and my sleep tracker thinks I just got up or something. So it says I got up at 2:08, and then the only other sleep it tracked after that, it counted as a short nap. Okay. Oh, he's out. Oh no. He's dropped. He's falling. I paused. Oh! Oh, I should not have clicked on him. I feel bad now. He feels guilty after being confined, and he feels free after being released from confinement. Yeah, I bet you feel free. I bet you feel free. All right. Oh! Yeah. He stood no chance on that drop. A loon leather bag. His arm and leg fell off. Wow. Alright, so I unforbid that. Oh, you don't even have to press a button. You're automatically, it's already on unforbid. Or reclaim. That's the word. Oh, we got more. There will be more. You went from not understanding the point to needing one. We have a goblin here. Olnga Zolakax. So we'll click on our zone. We'll go in here and we'll look for that one. And we'll designate him to be dumped. Oh, it's happening. It's happening. they're all the way down here already. Oh, ho, ho. That's a lot of Z levels. When you really look at this, we go from -2 all the way up to 46. That's a lot of Z levels. That's a lot of them. How are these other ones feeling? Hopeless after being confined. I'm very empathetic, and I actually hate seeing when like they feel bad about it or something. This one's angry. Bur Werdooms, Bur Bemungam. So it's you're angry, so I don't feel as bad. I still feel bad, but the ones that'll make me feel really bad are like when the first animal I bought when I started playing on the Steam release is like, oh my god, it's been years since I've played Fortress mode. I don't remember how to get the animal out of the cage. And I looked at it and it's like, she feels guilty after being confined. And I'm like, dude, I feel terrible about this. How do I help? You probably want traction benches. No, you want goblets. Is it possible to collect all the goblin stuff? Yeah. I mean, it's just sitting all down there. I just reclaimed all of it. But like we have this basic stuff from the dwarf there, and then from the goblin. In this case, it's like leather and stuff. But yeah, you could do that. I mean, it's literally all here. Well, this project did work, though. It did eventually pay off for what I wanted it to be. Olinge Oreris Nun. Not a difficult name at all. You're also angry after being confined. Well, that's just a terrible mood to be in. Because I don't feel as guilty if I do that to you. The ones that feel guilty about being confined and stuff, I feel worse. What in the world just happened? Oh, are you... Yeah, you're hauling the cage. I thought you were one of the ones going to dump a prisoner, and I was like, what in the world? So there is, as I mentioned, a slight chance, as far as I'm aware, this is my first time ever doing a drop pit like this, but as far as I'm aware, there is a slight chance that something can escape before you drop it. That's why you want your stockpile to be adjacent to your pit. Well, there goes... Yeah, what are you wearing? Copper stuff. Oof. How do you feel about that? She... So easily broken, be gone fear. She's afraid after experiencing trauma. She doesn't feel anything after seeing the goblin die, after seeing another goblin's dead body, and after seeing that dwarf's dead body. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff going on here. She is ashamed to have no shirt. Just walking around with her titties out, okay. You are also humiliated when uncovered. Yo, I make clothes. I don't know what else to tell you. I try to make clothes. Apparently I never make enough, though. They're repeating orders, and as long as we have cloth and we don't have enough clothes on hand, we'll make more. I believe another one should be dropping. Unless it already happened. We have another goblin there we can look into. Couple of them. Oh, that's the one I designated to drop. Cuts mob. You're frustrated and angry. What about the last one? Bosa. You feel hopeless. See, that makes me feel more guilty. It really does. What about that one? Let's see. I missed that one. You're angry. Oh, I like this music. So we have another one already down here. I gotta hope nobody actually gets hurt. Quest for knowledge never ends. Oh no! Oh, where is Eden Scale Roofs? I cannot give in to sadness. Who is that? Not a lover. I don't see an Eden. I'm not quite sure. What I do know is that we're gonna have some more bodies dropping down in a moment. Oh, there went one. Yeah, I gotta hope they don't land on one of my dudes. That could be tragic. But amusing. Let's be honest. Dropping a goblin or something from up here and having it squish one of my dwarves by hitting them so hard would be a pretty funny way to die. Oh, we have an issue now. BPR. We're gonna put in 2 doors. I'll select material so I can... We'll use jet, because jet's cool. I'm glad I realized this. If I want to flood this false entrance, then I want to make sure the water doesn't seep out this way. That would be a problem. So, what is this about flooding the false entrance? Because not everyone here has seen that. I have a contraption that I call the Diluvian Machine. These windmills power the Diluvian Machine. And we have a brook running through the middle of our map here in this zigzag shape. Not the most water, it's not as good as a river, but it works. When I turn the Diluvian Machine's fill mechanisms on, these 2 screw pumps drain the brook. It actually drains it so much, like the water does not continue flowing past this point and it dries up downstream. But when I turn these screw pumps on, the Diluvian Machine begins filling. It goes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 Z levels into this giant contraption here. Well, it's just a giant reservoir. But if we look, I'm going to go down the Z levels now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 Z levels down. It's designed like a big funnel. You can't really see it, but if I mouse over it here, we could see that's a block upward slope. And then on these edges here, these are also, there should be slopes. I don't know why it doesn't say slope. They are slopes though. If you see it when there's not water in here, they are slopes. and it's designed like a big funnel, essentially. And this thing took a lot to fill up. It has 2 exits. So this top bridge here drains onto the map, just for fun, because if I'm going to build this, I might as well do an extra goofy thing. But the bottom one here allows us to drain down into our false entrance. So if we've maybe sealed off some enemies in here that are not in traps for some reason, it may be the case that when they're in traps, they don't have to breathe, that they're just invincible. I haven't confirmed that, but someone mentioned that. I don't remember who it was, but someone mentioned that. Just cue that up real quick. So it may be the case that when they're trapped, we don't have to worry about that. But let's say I have dudes trapped in here that aren't in cages, which will take a while, but at that point I can go ahead and fill this thing up with water as a way to help eliminate any excess enemies. So one other thing we can think about now is the world map, which we unfortunately still can't zoom into. They've got to add that at some point. So if we center on my fort here, I'm surrounded by enemies. Goblin pits all over the place, goblin hillocks. This is going to be a problem. There's also a necromancer tower. This may be it. I know there are necromancers nearby because they've attacked me in the past. This goblin retreat here is actually friendly for some reason. But like almost everything else here is aggressive. And these goblins are really spreading. So one thing I could do is pick a squad and have them go do some work. Like this. We could say I've done this once before, I think. Missions. Now what if I click on this here? This is an easy one. So we can pick my second squad here. And we could say raid, they'll try to avoid detection. And we'll leave like all this other stuff on. We'll probably turn off livestock because I've had too many animals in the past. So we'll basically just do this here to have them go raid that. And see what happens. Raid stricken dawned. Yeah, I guess we're good, okay. How far away is it? I missed that. It's down here. A half day's travel. So it can actually take place pretty quickly once they do it. So if we come down here, see how they're moving now? They're actually going out to do this raid that I just sent them on. It was a really cool mechanic that I've never really taken advantage of myself. Back when I played the Most Fortress mode, this wasn't even in the game. This got added, I don't know, like 2018 or something, I don't know. 2017 or 18. I know the Magic interview from 2017, I think, talked about adding that mechanic. So it goes back quite a ways. And I know, like, RimWorld has that same mechanic. You can go out onto the world map and raid things. Do stuff like that. So we can see this dude's actually getting ready to go raid Stricken Dawned. It's pretty close, so it shouldn't take a long time for us to get information. Raiding in RimWorld is a lot of fun. I've only done that a little bit too, because shockingly, when I played most of my RimWorld like when I logged most of my hours in that game, you couldn't raid. I played that way back. And then when I revisited it later and they had added a lot of new mechanics, I was like, yo, there's a lot going on. And like the rating and stuff was like, man, it's so much. I wasn't there from the very beginning, but I had a friend who practically was, and he talked about it all the time. And then one day I decided to like really look into the game, and I was like, oh, this is like Dwarf Fortress. Why didn't you just say that? I would have already played it. All right, so they're off the map here. A custom start, we're dropping a bunch of Psycho Space Marines called the Imperial Land Reclamation Division. Oh no, not be very nice to natives. So the thing I don't like as much about RimWorld though is I respect it for what it's doing, but it wants to be more of a game. I like the more simulation aspect of Dwarf Fortress. I wasn't really a big fan of like the storytelling thing, which I know that's like weird because that's one of the biggest aspects of RimWorld. But I didn't really like that stuff happening just for the sake of it happening. I like when things feel more part of the world and like they happen for a reason. Yeah, exactly. Dwarf Fortress is like, yo, you just happen to be able to play a part in this simulator. And RimWorld is like, well, we don't have like a full sim going like that, but you know, we got enough going here, and then we want to make a more typical game around it. How old are you? 10 years old. Okay, I was like, why are you running around with like rainbows and stuff? I've done some stuff kind of like that where I've generated like I've had times where I've generated worlds over and over for hours and explored them with Legends Viewer, like the standalone programs and stuff, you know. And that was my way of figuring out what map I wanted to actually do an adventure mode or a fortress mode in. So I wanted it to be the perfect map. I wanted it to be the right one. A dwarf beast hunter necromancer is visiting. What's his name? Dagel Uristbekor. He's going to be easy to spot if he's still here. Yeah. Although I'm not seeing him at the moment. Oh, there he is. What's your deal? Good with language, 111 years old. Got lots of children. Dwarf peddler necromancer. Okay. Is it tea? Yeah. Yeah, that should be fine. Dig through that. Expand the library one more Have some symmetry going on in here. I like it. I've messed with a lot of stuff like that. I get really particular because in Fortress mode, I really don't want to deal with enemies and stuff. That's not what I'm here for. So the less I have to worry about that, the better for me. I always compare it to Factorio. You know, I love Factorio, but I hate the biters. I just want to build stuff, like I just want to come up with designs and stuff. And then like stupid biters come in and break stuff, and it's just like a nuisance. And I remember back in like old school Factorio where if you disabled the biters, you couldn't do all the science. Because purple science was tied to biter nests. What is it, C? R. Yeah, I know what C does now. It's a camera thing. Like a Z level thing or something. So I get really picky on, you know, whether or not I'd want to enable something like jack up savagery and stuff when I'm doing a world gen, because it's like, how fun is that going to be for me? I like reading about those kind of worlds in like Legends mode. I could definitely say that. Now I'm worried that we're gonna get attacked. I need to upgrade the bedrooms a bit. Yeah, like I can understand that. It's just stuff like that takes away too much from the fun for me. That's why, yep, here we go. That's why I disabled enemies for like 10 years or so, or maybe more on this game. And I was like, well, once we turn them on, it very likely spells the end of the fort relatively quickly. So we will see. I just want to like dig and build things and have a working little dwarven society, you know. I hope no one's out there. We have like a cat hanging out there, but I hope no one important is out there. I could set a burrow, but we're probably okay. Are you pulling the lever? Oh, you're preparing fish. You're gonna get caught out there, buddy. Okay. It's gonna be a problem, isn't it? I know they upgraded the burrow system, though. Burrows were pretty bad on the first version of the Steam release because you couldn't assign all. So I could just go down here and make a burrow. Delete that one. Make a new one called Emergency. Fill up like this whole thing. We'll leave one to hopefully pull the lever. Unless you're doing it. Is that what you're here for? Oh no, you're the fish dude. Are you pulling the lever? You are. So fish dude might get caught out there. Oh, let's watch the frog. Frog's gonna go flying. How many Z levels? 1, 2, 3, 4. There he is, 8 Z levels up. Now I lost track because I kind of stopped counting. That frog corpse went way up. You know, it might actually be okay though, because they're gonna start pathfinding into the false entrance. Intruders, drive them away. I mean, so is this guy. Show some mercy now and again. I think we pretty well almost turned the burrow off. I want to watch what they do. I want this one on the right here to go through the entranceway as well. False entrance. They're really hesitant. Like they started moving that way and now they're kind of just straggling. I think it's the corpses that are really stupid. The others... Oh, no, this guy got caught. Yeah. Kind of knew that was going to happen, but... I don't know where he went. You guys want to get caught in the traps? That'd be cool. I'd quite appreciate if you do that, actually. No need to bring out my military if they're just going to get caught. Oh, we got a dwarf. What's that from? Is that from this siege? So I don't think he was there earlier. Oh, no, no. You're gonna get killed, buddy. He served as bait. Oh, yeah, you're getting caught. Is Lolor the one that we encountered before? We've encountered necromancers before on this game, on this world. Oh no, I know they're doing that, but at first they hadn't seen them and they were still straggling. Oh, they're shooting. That's bad. Are you hurt? All right, they're all captured. So what I'm going to do is... I'm going to grab these two squads here. And I'm going to issue kill orders on all these. I don't think it'll be hard to kill them, but I'm just thinking about one thing. Yeah, that should be fine. I was thinking I'm going to actually disable the burrow now. We're going to pull the lever here, because I think we're pretty safe. And we got the necromancers, which is pretty cool. Siege. Why? We're fine. Fish cleaners like weaving and stuff. Like, I know we're under siege. It's not news. What I want to know is where the squad's going to show up from. I want to catch it early. Oh, he's booking it. He does not want to be out here anymore. Alright, we got a squad coming from the entrance over here. The main entrance of the fort. I really don't care if they want to go in the false entrance, they can. Because they'll just get caged. Some of them might be doing that right now, because the Fisher guy is gone. Oh! Fish cleaner, what is up with you fish dudes? Running right by the undead. He's booking it too, he's sprinting. As the tide turned, I feel no terror. He's terrified while in conflict. But our military's just about here. Ready to throw down. He is putting that cardio. Look at our brave soldier. Oh, I just saw him weave. Saw him weave that arrow. Who are you? Olan. Yeah. The bolt misses him. Kill elves. That is the order. Let's see. The elf axeman corpse misses the hammer dwarf. The hammer dwarf stabs him with the steel short sword. Oh, you actually have a sword on you, okay. The corpse strikes, but the shot is deftly parried by the crossbow. The hammer dwarf slashes the elf axeman corpse, tearing apart the muscle. There are some issues. Hopefully we don't run into them. It's usually fine with the corpses like this. Got you on that hydrate there. On that, yeah, hydrate. Hydrate, drink, it's the same thing. We just chopped off a limb. There's one, there's another one. They're falling quick. What happened to the others? What's going on? Why aren't you guys moving? I was attacked by the dead. This is truly horrifying. Yeah, this is done. No more siege. Very easy defense. It was a small horde. We captured the necromancers, though. Oh, right. I was making something the other day to prep for necromancers before they could cause problems. Did I ever link this up? I did not. I wanted to make an atom smasher here. We have a garbage dump, basically. I'm gonna move this garbage dump into the path of the atom smasher and make sure we get rid of these unused skeletons and stuff. Some of these things don't need to be forbidden, though. Or don't need to be dumped. Whatever. Do I care about, like, 4 rocks? Not really. Not even the marble blocks. All these legs and crap. I don't want a a necromancer to show up and convert those things into enemies. In this fort, earlier on, we had an unwinnable situation where an echidna skeleton was converted into an invincible enemy, basically. No one could hit it. It was slowly killing enemies, or killing things, in fact. Hey, what's going on, Dobby? Greetings. How are you doing? Dobby K. Greetings from the mountain homes. So this is actually the spot where the echidna was at. I walled off its skeleton to prevent it from happening again in case, but we've since removed it. They're busy hauling the remains now of the assault. Well, not too bad, all things considered. Game is going good. I always love playing some Dwarf Fortress. But I'm exceptionally tired, so unfortunately I'm wrapping up relatively soon. I got like 3.5 hours, maybe a little bit more of sleep last night. So normally I go for about 4 hours, but I don't think I have it in me today. It's pretty brutal today. We're going to reclaim these here. So what do we have? We have a necromancer. I actually like having necromancers on my own, but the ones that come and attack me, they're a little different. They don't get as much of a pass. What I would love, unfortunately, I don't have any in my fortress. What I would love is to have a necromancer of my own, assign him to be a scholar, and start like writing the secrets of life and death and export a little bit of knowledge to the world. I'd love to do that. Ah, we're out of... okay. Let's make a couple bookcases. I think I probably made the other ones out of wood, didn't I? No, they're stone. Okay. Why did I type limestone? Rock bookcase. I will just queue up 2 more. Get some symmetry in this place. I think I'm going to tear these 2 down and smooth the floors, because they won't let me do it, will they? Yeah. Actually, I have to tear those as well. I don't know why I put them in there before smoothing, but it's been bothering me for so long. Okay, so one thing, if anyone can actually confirm this, is it possible to, like, convert someone that we capture? Because that would be interesting. That would be something that would be a little fun. Because otherwise, they're probably just going to go down the drop pit. Which, you know, sucks to be them at that point. Oh, we have miasma down here because I forgot to take care of the bodies. Wait. How did stuff go through the floor? Hell if I know. I forgot to take care of all the bodies down here earlier. That's my fault. Oh, the cat's not happy. Hey there, Jaeger. By the way, I keep forgetting to mention when you drop in, I saw the other day apparently you raided me like right after I ended the stream. Terrible timing. When I end the stream, I usually step away and I start remuxing my video. And I come back like 10 minutes later and I was like, oops. I remember that happened to Farayu one time back in the day. I think you were raiding Farayu, and I had both of your streams open, and then he was like closing out. I was like, no, Farayu, wait. Good times. How have you been though? Hope you're doing all right. we don't have anything captured here. Did we finish linking this up? We did. Let's pull the lever. And let's move the garbage dump. Yeah, timing, like, it really sucks when that happens, though, you know? You feel kind of bad. Do I have any trees next to my walls? I need to keep that in mind. Yeah. Sometimes, some of these seeds that made their way out here, they are growing still. What I should probably do is put floors all out here to prevent that. Because those trees can give a route, if you will, into the fortress. Something might want to climb that tree and make its way into the fortress. Alright, so if I do that, make it a garbage dump. Now I delete this old garbage dump. I'm gonna do that there, and now I'm gonna say dump everything here. So now they'll move it into this, and then I can activate the bridge, and it's an atom smasher, as people call it, right? So everything that's under it, when it smushes back onto the ground, just gets destroyed. So there'll probably be a lot of people doing the hauling here for a little bit. I guess we're waiting on it, so let's undo the dump status on a couple of these. Like, it's not a big deal, but it's something to do. Just anything that I'm like, yeah, we could keep that one. We're gonna end up losing a couple things here anyway, I don't care. You don't expect me to go over all these, do you? I might want to also take a lot of this stuff here, and just dump it. So, IP, that's how you dump. Wait, no. Dumping is number 2, peeing is number 1. No, the I hotkey and then I and then P, those are the buttons you press. So they are moving it all down there, which is good. Or up there, rather. They should be moving these now, yep. Keeping people really busy today. Lots of corpses. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's a way to convert those necromancers or anything to our side. And I'm not sure if I'd trust them if we did. Is it possible to go into like the justice system? Who would we even interrogate? I don't really care about those. Desired metal cages and chains in dungeon, and chains in dungeon, 17 of 22. Oh, so we did learn some stuff I forgot to mention. This is a really cool system. Check this out. So last time we had Etru Shrine Grower, who I think is dead now. Etru Shrine Grower tried to steal something. And we interrogated him, right? So let's look back at the interrogation from Etru. Just because this is a really cool system to see how everything pieces together here. So, met with the subject, appealed to their belief in the law, and the subject values the law. So, the subject confessed to the theft. They revealed that in the late winter of 109, they made an agreement with the Anguished Tours, that's us, becoming a resident of Ironclears to entertain the citizenry. Ironclears being our fortress. We're part of the Anguished Tours civilization, and our fortress is Ironclears. Subject revealed that in the mid-spring of 112, they made an agreement with the Anguished Tours, becoming a citizen of Ironclears. So they were a resident, now they're a citizen. And that was in the mid-spring of 112. In the mid-autumn of 112, Thone Gleamedwind, as the dwarf, the monster slayer Atyr Guildfather of the Lances of Roaring, corrupted the subject in order to have an agent in Ironclears. Thone Gleamedwind met with subject and made a threat. Subject spurned the law and agreed willingly. The subject revealed that in the mid-autumn of 112, they plotted to steal Rhymed Scoured under the influence of Thone Gleamedwind. So they've been influenced and corrupted by Thone Gleamedwind. So we look at actors here. Etru being the one that actually tried to do the theft. So here we see the associated plot, steal Rhymed Scoured. Rhymed Scoured. I think I might have been saying something else a moment ago. They agreed to do that in 112. And the associated organization was Thone Gleamedwind. And now Thone here is the highest known member of that organization. And that's still the associated plot to steal Rhymed Scoured. So that's some really cool information. Organizations, Thone Gleamedwind, selected actor, Thone Gleamedwind. And we also have Etru Shrine Grower. So we only know 2 of them. And we actually see Rip here because Etru is dead. I convicted them and then they died. So I don't know exactly what happened because I don't think I have a hammerer. So they just maybe resisted arrest and died or whatever. I don't know. But we see the thief and the boss, Thone Gleamedwind. Now we can look at plots here, and we have multiple plots going on. And then the big one, steal Rhymed Scoured organization Thone Gleamedwind. So what's cool is that we can actually start getting more information from this stuff as we start piecing together more stuff as like maybe different attacks happen or different thefts or whatever happen, and we catch them and interrogate them. So it's really cool. I really like that system, but it's going to take a while to like really get to the bottom of like what's up with Thone, right? So whatever happened with this? We raided it, but we got a report. Raid stricken dawned. In the late spring of 113, we slipped by undetected and we stole treasure from them. So that was our mission. It was actually very simple. So now if I want to do another mission there, we'll click on them again. And I think I picked this one before. So now we're going to pillage. We're going to openly attack them. And we're going to uncheck steal livestock, but do all the other things. So now we're going to do another assault on them. It's a civilization of less than 10 goblins. It's a goblin forest retreat. Civilization, the Hex of Eviscerating War. That's a brutal name. So we're going to just try to stifle their population a little bit. There are goblins all around us, and we have to be careful that we don't let them keep spreading and causing issues. So we need to be a little aggressive sometimes too. So we're going to go ahead and start that up, and they should be back very quickly. It's not going to take a long time. It'll probably take longer for them to get off the map than it will for them to actually do the work. All right, so again, I don't know of a way to actually convert them to our side. So I'm going to take a brief check online. See if it is possible. Prisoners become hostile after reuniting. No, that's something else. That's a bug. I don't see anything, so let's take care of a couple things here real quick. Let's click on our dump site here. And let's drop one of these necromancers. They may actually try to revive some body parts down here, though, which would be a problem. There's a lot of miasma still. There's so many body parts. I gotta do these like one at a time. Because I don't want to forbid the... I don't want to dump the other stuff. It's easier to do the body parts since there are fewer. You know what I've noticed? We've had no Tusk today. And Tusk was really excited yesterday about Dwarf Fortress. He called it Dwarf Friday, but it's actually Thursday for me. It's just that when I start the stream, it's midnight for him. I already did that one, yeah. Had to double check though. So I was a little concerned about something, and I might want to toggle the status of this, but we'll see. I'll probably just let it happen. So see, necromancers can revive body parts and stuff, right? What may happen, as goofy as it is we drop this necromancer down the pit. Before they get to the bottom, they might be in range of the body parts and start reviving them. And that could be a problem. That could be a very bad problem. But YOLO. Besides, I gotta walk quite a long ways to get here. So I think we'll be okay. And we got a lot of people already hauling this stuff, so it's not too bad. No one's even up here yet. You might be. Pit Pond, yeah. Dwarf Strand Extractor Necromancer. Let's take one look at them before they die. Assuming they do. Feels guilty after being confined. Maybe you should not have attacked us. No kills or any... Oh no, military. No kills, yeah. Legendary Strand Extractor. Alrighty. This is the end of you. Ooh, wait. Let's do it the right way. Alright, so here we have the Dwarf Strand Extractor Necromancer, and we're gonna test out our drop pit. Whee! Bye! Someone clean that up. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. I may or may not have done that intentionally just to snip it and make a YouTube short. That's a very short one, but it's fun. Those things pull in numbers. I needed an excuse to make one. You know, it's cool. Like, we did finish another project today, and it's working very well. How's everyone feeling right now? Feeling like we should maybe drop another necromancer down? Where are they? Unib, you get a pass for now because that's a rockin' beard you got there. That's the only reason. Alright, who did I designate? Lolor. Alright, let's go into our caged prisoner here, and we have Lolor. Center the camera on you. Actually, we'll delay this a little bit more. I'm going to try and set this up for another short. Here we have Lolor Athabzas, the dwarf necromancer, who we caught in the last raid here. And, well, we can't allow that to happen, right? We have to discourage that kind of behavior. Anytime now. So now we have a kind citizen who has volunteered to do the oh so dirty job. Whee! And they are done. You know, it's so simple when you look at it that way. We'll dump all the components, all the rotting components at least, and another one out of the way. Easy disposal. Oh, that's only the second one you properly saw. We've dumped quite a few. We had a lot of miasma down here earlier. And someone hit so hard, apparently, that their body part went through the floor there. So we're going to go ahead and mark that one as well. Work is over. Congrats. Congrats. Right as I am formally about to wrap up, though. I've got an extra half hour on what I planned because I love this game too much. I'm like, I'm so tired, I want to sleep. But Dwarf Fortress. Alrighty, I'm gonna chop that up. I'm gonna make a short out of that. The shorts be doing numbers on YouTube. What I like to do, actually, I clip out the part that I want as a normal video, and I upload it, and I also upload a short, because shorts, you have to crop them all weird and stuff. So I like to have the full video as well. Just so it's there. But the shorts be pulling in the numbers. And it's a fun, quick one. Hey, look at this dude dropping down a pit. That's Dwarf Fortress. So we named a steel crossbow. You've forgotten a demand. Good for you. The perplexing merchants have returned. Is that you? Go to, oh, no, oh yeah, no, that is us. I was thinking that was something special. No, that's our squad. Yeah, we should definitely look at the report. Raid, I think. So we raided... No, that's the first one. Pillage. Uh-oh. We confronted... The goblin confronted us. The goblin's right upper arm was slashed. A bunch of stuff happened. And the goblin was struck down by us. Good. The goblin Danman stopped Draced. Confronted the dwarf. The goblin Danman was struck down. Goblin Uzluk Gorge Roots attacked the dwarf Nil plunged spear, but Nil struck him down, and we looted treasure from Stricken Dawned. We are vicious out there, apparently. Stricken Dawned is still saying that there are fewer than 10, so I might keep working on them a little bit, but that was successful. Very successful, huh? An iron anvil and a gold flask. The first time we get a horse leather loincloth, pigtail hood, iron pike, eagle leather trousers, and pigtail cap. Cool. Alrighty. I think that's going to be it now. I'm going to have to do some more butchering very soon to keep my frame rate from dying again. But I think I'm going to wrap up here, as I already mentioned. Decent progress today. We finished the drop pit. It works flawlessly. It's such a long drop. Not a lot of things will survive that. But if we start capturing some tougher things, I don't know about things like minotaurs and stuff, but maybe like a forgotten beast or something. Actually, no, you can't capture those without webs. Yeah, you need webs to capture those, so that would be a problem. You can, basically, Forgotten Beasts are special, they're procedurally generated creatures, and they are kind of brutal at times, or they can be really weak at times, depending on what they got generated from. Like, it could be made out of a really dumb material that's really easy to fight and doesn't really hurt you, or they could be made out, they could just have, like, magma breath and just be terrible. They are immune to being captured by cages, with an exception. If you can have a webbed cage, they'll be captured in it. And there is a whole trick to making webbed cages where you need like a giant cave spider. So not the kind of cave spiders we frequently see and kill, but a giant one. There's actually a YouTube video on it. I don't remember the person's name, but they say something about like weaponizing Forgotten Beasts. The title is something like that. And they show a trick to capture the giant cave spider and how to like encase it in a way where it can web the cages, but it's safe, like your dwarves and stuff can't be attacked by it. So it'll just keep sitting there like webbing cages and stuff for you over and over. And then you have like your false entryway that leads the Forgotten Beast through those cages, and you can actually trap it. So it's really cool stuff, but a little bit advanced for anything that I've done, so that would take some time to work towards. We haven't even seen one show up on this game yet, which is kind of surprising. Given the wealth and population that I have, I thought I'd be attacked by larger forces by now, but we shall see. Alrighty, so back to the original kind of topic at hand. We made good progress just in terms of getting the drop pit. We survived a couple attacks. We kind of chilled a bit today. Wasn't a lot of crazy stuff happening, but it was a lot of fun. Dwarf Fortress is always fun. Good people hanging out in the chat today. I appreciate that raid from Cabal earlier. And Lugdor hanging out. We had Dobby show up. We had Jaeger drop in for a minute. I know I'm missing someone from earlier. I know I am. My apologies. But I appreciate everybody who shows up, whether you're lurking or chatting. I really do appreciate it. If you are new to the stream and you like Dwarf Fortress, then you know you want to hit that follow button, because I'm playing this as two of my slots, Tuesday and Thursday. Other things I have going on right now concurrently are Caves of Cud. So if you like roguelikes, you know, if you're into Dwarf Fortress, you probably also like roguelikes. So Caves of Cud, I got that going on. We're doing an Esper run right now. I'm currently replaying the entire Metal Gear Solid franchise. We're just about to wrap up the first game. That's going to be Saturday and Sunday in the daytime, 10 a.m. Central. I am also doing, every Sunday night, I do Genshin Impact. And I mentioned earlier, I do my coding streams on Mondays and Wednesdays. I program in Rust, and I'm doing a roguelike tutorial. So we're moving on from all the map generation algorithms and stuff that we just wrapped up, and now going into kind of game design, so more game design fundamentals and theory, if you will. How to put all the pieces of everything together to make something that's fun and enjoyable and interesting. So that's going to be really fun. That's going to be really useful for me wanting to make my own like real game. So I'm learning as much as I am trying to teach as I go along. It's very interesting dynamic, but it is fun. So if any of that interests you, definitely hit that follow button, come hang out, you know, stay in chat, all that good stuff. You know how it is. You could also head over to YouTube, where all my streams go up 2 weeks after they're live here on Twitch. Or if you're watching this in the future on YouTube right now, then congrats on being in the future. And while you're over there, I'd appreciate if you do all the fun YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You could leave a comment. I do read and respond to my comments. I really appreciate them. And next up is the Twitter thing. I do tweet when I go live most of the time. So why do I mention that? Because some people have complained about Twitch notifications in the past being delayed by like an hour or more. I'd go live and they're like, whoa, you've already been going for an hour? I just got the notification. That's never been a problem for me, but if that's been a problem for you, I do tweet pretty much every time I go live, so you could turn the notifications on over there and keep track that way if you want to do that. But that's enough of me rambling, enough of me talking. I'm tired. I'm going to go relax a little bit, and I will be back tomorrow night with some Caves of Cud. So until then, until next time, have a good day, have a good night, whatever it is, wherever you're at. Take it easy.